What is going on, my Masketeers? Welcome back to another episode, and today we are here to talk about Disney's live-action remake of the 80s classic Little Mermaid, starring Hailey Bailey. So, let's get into it. How was the film? You know what? I'm gonna say this. In a world of remake and reboots, some films shouldn't be touched, and Little Mermaid is kind of in the middle for me. The reason being is because I never really had like a massive pull to the original one. I know that it's a classic, but for me, the classics that really hit home are Lion King, Pocahontas, Aladdin, Fox and the Hound, Beauty and the Beast. So things like Cinderella, Snow White, Little Mermaid, they didn't really do it for me. So I don't have so much of an emotional attachment to the original. Still appreciate them for what they are. Their live action remakes, I didn't really care. Now, when it came to the ones that I loved, they all fell short. Aladdin, no. Lion King, hell no. Beauty and the Beast, God awful. With Little Mermaid, like I said, it's in the middle for me. The reason why I say that is because when I watch both movies, I can actually appreciate some of the things that they did in the live action and how they made small changes and also expanded on certain characters. But then I can also see that in certain areas, the original was better. I will say this. The one thing which I like about the remake is I like Ariel's motivation. In the original, she was literally just motivated by a boy, by a man she saw one time, and then she's willing to give up everything. That was a little bit too far. Whereas in the remake, she has a curiosity for the human world. She's been collecting human stuff from when she was young, and she's always had a fascination to be in the human world. But it's expanded to the point of where she just wants freedom. She wants the ability to go everywhere and to experience everything. Whereas her dad, who again, King of the Sea, King Trident, he just wants to protect his daughter, and he believes all humans are dangerous. And because of that, the film has more of a coming of age story, teenage rebellion, but self-discovery, which I really like. Whereas in the other, or the original, that's not really the message that you get. It's more of a case of quote unquote true love, but it doesn't really feel like true love because again, you just met this guy yesterday. So you willing to sacrifice your entire life is a little bit, nah, it didn't really work for me. So I feel in this movie, it really worked. Another thing which they change, it's her dad. I don't know how I feel about that. In the original, he was stern, but he had moments by the fact that in him doing what he believes is right, he was hurting Ariel in the process, but he's trying to look out for her. Whereas in this film, this dad, he don't give a damn. He's just like, my rules, and he doesn't really show any emotion in regards to hurting her feelings. He literally is just like, listen, I'm king, I say it, you do it. That's really it. He had maybe like one or two moments, but apart from that, he doesn't really have a lot of empathy for Ariel, whereas the original dad, he did. When he did the stuff that hurt her, he always had moments when she's gone that he reflected upon that, and you could see it. He didn't want to do it, but he had to do it, kind of thing. Whereas in this film, it's kind of missing. This is something which, again, they need to really just stop doing. When they do these live action remakes, stop making all of these animals so hyper realistic. It removes the magic a little bit. I will not lie, I do prefer the new Sebastian's look to the old. The old Sebastian, I don't even know what that thing was. That was not a crab. He looked like a mutant because he had the crab body, but then he had like this weird face thing, which again, no crab has it. It kind of looked like a snail's head. I don't know. That always kind of freaked me out a little bit. Whereas this Sebastian looks like a crab. Now, I do prefer the old Sebastian's singing though. This new Sebastian, he can't really hold it like the old. Flounder, the new Flounder looks trash. I'm sorry. They should have picked a different fish. Flounder looks terrible. It just doesn't work. One thing to also say as well, a lot of people were complaining like this film is really dark and it's taken away from the vibrant feel of the original. I watched the original. The original is not that vibrant. Maybe at the time it was, but when you look at it now, it still has like a little murky look to it. The colors don't pop, especially like in comparison to other Disney films. It definitely does not have that much color. Again, I think people are just kind of nitpicking at that. Now, don't get me wrong. In the darkness of the new one, it's dark, but again, it's the ocean floor. But when the colors do come, the color is there. So I kind of like that. I like the contrast of when she's in areas where it's darkness, it really is dark. darkness. But then even like when they do the song Under the Sea, and it's colorful, it's really colorful. One thing which I will say, which I was not a fan of, the CGI in this film, nah, let me not lie to you. For a film that cost 200 million, the CGI in certain parts, and I say certain parts, majority of the parts, it just didn't really hit. I felt, nah, this doesn't look as polished as it should, especially for the money that they spent for it. That aside, there was also some development in regards to the place where the humans live, because in the old, or in the original, it kind of felt like a sea town but somewhere in Europe, whereas now in the remake it has like a Caribbean vibe to it. I can't lie, it's a bit tonally inconsistent. The reason why I say it's tonally inconsistent is because the people around the island seem to be Caribbean, but the people that live in the middle or in the city, they are not. And this also brings me to Prince Eric. In this film, they've expanded his character a bit more, whereas in the first one, he just needed to find a wife. In this one, it's a case of where he wants to explore the world because he feels like the world is evolving and his island, or where he's from, is getting left in the past. And so he wants to go to new places, discover new islands, broaden his country or his island's perspective, which I really like because, again, it made it, in a sense, him and Ariel want the same thing, just in different forms. And again, that's where I felt that you can pull more from, where they have more in common, because she simply wants to be free to explore the human world, take in everything, and he wants to explore the world itself. He wants to explore the oceans, which I thought was like a nice contrast. She literally wants to explore man's world and he wants to explore her world, in a sense. That went really well. Another thing which they added in this is Ariel has something called the Siren's Call, and the Siren's Call allows them to do small feats of magic. They don't really go into detail what the magic is, but they can do small feats of magic. One of the abilities is to, in a sense, enchant men, which ties into the whole mythos of mermaids and merfolk from all over the world, to why they called them sirens and how they could cause men to drown by singing to them, and their voice is so alluring, they're drawn to it. And they took elements of that and they implemented it into the story. So much so that even Eric's obsession with trying to find the girl that saved him, it's based on the Siren Call because it has abilities and powers. The Siren Call brought him back to life. In a sense, it kind of bewitches him in a way because he's so obsessed trying to find the girl that has that voice. So again, they did a lot of interesting things in this film, which I really did like. The standout for me though, it will have to be Ursula. Ursula, yeah, she was actually on point. I actually liked the character of Ursula. I think, honestly, she was one of the strongest parts of this film. Melissa McCarthy, she did her thing. She really made it her own. And I liked her backstory because in this one, they make Ursula King Trident's sister who got banished for being a sea witch. And again, even how she is able to entice Ariel to make the deal, it was done in such a way where it makes sense. She targets her at her weakest point. She's just had a massive fight with her dad, and it's even made her question whether or not her dad is the man that she thought he was, or the merman she thought that he was. And then Ursula preys on that. She uses that to kind of make Ariel question everything that her dad has told her. And Ariel then begins to think. And again, that dynamic is so much better. It is so much better. And again, it makes the story make sense. The film is longer than it needs to be. The original film was maybe like, what, an hour and 25 minutes? This one, 2 hours. So the extra 30 minutes, you don't really get that much extra. And I don't feel like it needed the extra 30 minutes, honestly. I felt like you could have still made it 1:30, and with the small changes that they made, given us the exact same movie. Whereas I couldn't justify why there was extra 30 minutes because we didn't learn anything more, if that makes any sense. Overall, yeah, I thought that Little Mermaid, it was a good movie, in my honest opinion. I think it's definitely one of the best remakes that they've done. I haven't really liked the rest of them. Like I said, especially in regards to my core Disney films. For me, they all fell flat. Whereas this one, it was a good watch and definitely something you'd go to take your kids. Based off that, this film is gonna get a solid 6 out of 10 for me. Maybe even a 6.5. I've never done points before. It's definitely between a 6 and a 7. So I'm gonna give it a 6.5. If you want to take your kids to watch a good family film, then this one is one to take them to. All the black folks are gonna gather because, again, Black Princess, we're gonna show up in full force. You already know that. This is Wakanda under the water. Or 6.5 from me. Decent film. Guys, if you've watched it, let me know your thoughts in the comment sections below. Pop off and let's do this. Again, please like the video, videos. It helps with the channel, gets me on our algorithm, gets more people to see it, helps the channel grow. You know all the good jazz. Please like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't. If you're watching and you're not subscribed, please hit that button, hit the notification. I will see you at the next masquerade. Peace.